We're back, baby. Oh, wait. I got to put my mic back on. I don't know where it just was, but.
Please don't.
It's got a little scent to it for some reason. I don't know what that's about. But we are back. We had a pretty interesting race that we're going to talk about. A lot of fun, a lot of action happened at Richmond, not only at the end, but through the entire race. So I'm actually really excited about this one. I'm glad to be back.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about all of it, eh? Dude, it was a full...
God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Still down there. Still down there.
Still outside corner. You're number one.
Was out. Hell was out. That's just about outwrecked him. And then she busted her ass.
Jimmy Chalupa. Oh, there we go. All right. Beef False 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First comment on the Instagram side. Thank you so much. Austin Dillon sucks. You're not wrong. For 99%.
Beef Boston, who it is.
Who is that?
That's our neighbor from Charlotte.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. He follows me on Instagram.
I know him from the Facebook side. I don't know him from this side. Interesting. Then he should have won on my birthday. Hey,
sure.
He almost had it. But we'll dive into that. Richmond was a pretty interesting race. It's short track racing might be halfway back.
Well, I mean, I think lost in everything is the tires.
Oh, 100%.
Like the tires were the story going into the weekend, and then fuck the tires.
Well, what's up, Dakota? RCR is so back, baby. I don't think we can say they're back after Dylan wins one time every 2 years. I don't think that's there yet.
I think it's like every 3 years.
Every 3 years. Well, yeah, I mean, he lucks himself into wins. You know, Pop puts that little extra horsepower in there, and it turns into something interesting. But yeah, you're right. I think everything kind of overshadowed these tires because they announced it well ahead of time. Hey, we're going to run the option tires. Obviously, when it came to the first time, they also had the groove tire. They did not have that one for this one because there was no instances of rain coming in. So it was just the yellow tire or the red tire. You got 6 sets of yellows. That's that harder rubber that they normally run. It lasts longer. Then you had the reds. You only had 2 sets of, and I think that's where NASCAR needs to improve. I mean, what did you think about the amount they got? Because they got 6 yellows, only 2 reds.
So, well, I think we should just go ahead and get rid of the option tires and make them the primary tires. But okay. So I want to applaud NASCAR for trying this in a points race because we tried it at North Wilkesboro and it failed miserably. From what I understood, this was even softer than the Wilkesboro option tire.
Yes.
So hats off to NASCAR for trying, and Goodyear for trying a softer tire than what they had at Wilkesboro, putting it in a points race for another situation. But I think from this point forward, we know what Goodyear can do, and we should just make it the primary tire from here on out. And the reason I say that is because we are not F1. We don't have different sets of tires for all this strategy shit. So the strategy side of it was entertaining, and it made the race entertaining. But I would hate to open up Pandora's box and be like, okay, we have these sets of tires over here and this set of tires over here. And it just feels a little bit too, I don't know, manipulated, if that makes sense. I like the idea of just having one set of tires that's soft to where it puts it back in the driver's hands to conserve your tires. Like that's what we want.
I get where you're coming from on it, but I'm okay with it as it is, but I think they need to give more tires. I think instead of it being 6 and 2, I'd rather it be a 5 and 3 or a 4 and 4, to where there's more tire to gamble with, especially for some of these cars. Like, I would love to see the difference between a car running an entire race on the reds and just going balls to the wall until it wears out. If they get far enough ahead, I mean, Daniel Suarez got over 3 seconds ahead. If he can get to 9 seconds ahead, that's a pit stop. So if we can sit there and see an entire strategy of a team going just reds for an entire race, they're going to pit twice as much. But do they make up enough time on those red tires to where they can still come out with a lead at the end?
Yeah,
I think it just adds more storyline.
I totally agree with that. It's just that I feel like it opens up that box of, because we're already arguing, like, okay, well, not arguing, but debating or whatever, bringing up the point of, okay, should they have more option tires? Should they have less option tires? Like, I think that's ultimately the question. And we'd have this argument, every single week, unless you just implement this softer tire all the way around. Because if you have a tire that wears out, as the Reds did, we saw exactly that with Daniel Suarez. He drove all the way to the front on that first set with the red tires.
Yeah.
After he got to the lead, he completely backed off his speed and conserved, to where he held the lead the entire run.
He was able to get out far enough. Yeah.
So if you had guys if you had the entire field on the same set of tires, you didn't have these option tires. The option tires were the primary tires. You would have guys that would be able to manage their stuff better than other guys and be able to drive through the field where other guys were saving their stuff. You'd see the exact same thing. It's just that everybody was on equal playing ground. And that's what I would like to see. But again, I'm not being critical of this at all. I think it was awesome that we tried this. It definitely made the race way more entertaining. I went in to this weekend with the expectations like, oh, fuck, here we go. Richmond summer race. It's going to be a snoozer. Like, sucked last year. It sucked the year before. Yeah, the tires is like, even before we had option tires, it was still one of those races that tires did wear out, but it was only because of strategy, to where if guys were like short pitting or trying to go the distance in a pit run, that's where we saw the tire degradation that really made a difference. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I get you. My only worry is if it's just the only tire, is we didn't get to see how long it could last on that car. So obviously it was really fast for 30-ish laps, and then it fell off and it matched that of the yellow. If everyone's on that same tire, then everyone's falling off at the same time. So I think everyone goes the same speed again.
But and I know where you're coming from with this, but I don't want to interrupt you, but I will say that we had the Bristol incident earlier this year, to where nobody knew what was going to happen with that tire.
And that was 40 laps.
Yeah, it was like 40 laps, whatever it was. But after that race, everybody loved it. And they're like, if we would have known this happened, we would have been able to adjust the car for one, to accommodate, to make longer tire life. And then the drivers, it's back in their hands to be able to conserve tire. So if you have a tire that wears out after 40 laps, let's say this tire actually would wear out after 50 laps or something like that. It got you almost to that fuel number. Well, if you had a tire that wore out before you ran out of fuel, these fuel mileage races, they go bye-bye. Like, we don't have to worry about that shit no more. And it goes back to these guys being able to, once again, conserve tire. If you have one guy out there that's beating it a little bit harder than the other guy, they're gonna take off. They're gonna be fast for 10, 15 laps, and then next thing you know it, they start backing right back up to that guy. So I wonder what it would be like to run the short track tires on a 1.5 miles, because obviously it's a different compound. There's different loads and weights for the car. I think it's a load thing. For sure.
Yeah, so I wonder what it'd be like just to run the yellows at 1.5 miles and super speedways, and then the reds are a short track only, or maybe short track and road course. I mean, I'd like to see what happens with road course.
I agree. I don't think we need to touch anything with the 1.5 miles. Our intermediate package is great so far, especially what we've seen at Charlotte, Kansas. Like, I would hate to start playing with tire compounds at those tracks, and then next thing you know, we're kind of back into a situation where shit, we're blowing tires out 15 laps because they can't withstand a load.
The Indy that ended Indy.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Yeah. So David says, so nothing really to talk about at Richmond, huh? Sorry you're late. Yeah, it won't be excused next time, David. Be here on time.
What happened at Richmond? I don't know.
What up, full gang? How's it going, buddy?
What up, Andrew?
And but tires still can't be the only answer to short tracks. No, the cars need more power. Obviously, if you haven't checked out the TikTok we made already today, it's definitely one of those things where the horsepower is going to fix the problem. However, if they're not going to give us horsepower, I think this starts moving us in the right direction because at least there's tire wear, there's some fall off, there's a difference. Watching Suarez just haul ass through the field. I mean, he was zigging and zagging, and he was able to do it because he had just put on the red tires. And then by the end of it, he was right there in the mix. I mean, at one point he was first. He was 15th, then he went to first, and then he dropped back to I think like 11th or 12th, something like that. And then even back out, came back. I mean, like it just phenomenal. At the end, he could have caught and won if old Spinhouse didn't, him and Priest didn't get together.
Yeah, that was conspiracy theory alert. Put your tinfoil hats on. I think Stenhouse did that on purpose. That was one of those. I'm gonna get RCR back for that shit at Wilkesboro. Does it seem plausible?
Yeah, I don't know. And one thing I want to talk about now is moving forward. Is this every short track? Are we going to save Phoenix this year by running these option tires?
These tires have to be at Phoenix.
I think there's no after this weekend. I don't think NASCAR can sit there and go, we're done with it for this year. I think everyone has to agree because so far I have not heard a single person that has said Richmond was terrible. Everyone said the racing was great, and then obviously the Dillon part.
And the thing that sucks about this is that all we are talking about now is the Dillon situation. So that's all overshadowing the whole tire deal. Like, are we going to go to Bristol, the next short track, and now it's in the playoffs? Are we going to go to Bristol and we're going to be like, oh, we ran an option tire? Like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Like, are we not going to have an option tire from here on out? Are we going to just kind of sweep it under the rug and say it was a good experiment, but we can't do it anymore? I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think that's the direction they're going to go. I think NASCAR is probably really pleased with what they saw. I personally loved the tire thing, especially with Suarez. I mean, that was incredible for him to drive all the way to the front of the field, hold the track position, and he held that track position for the entirety of the race. He was the only one that I saw that put the reds on at the right time.
McDowell did too the first time, not the second time.
Yeah, but McDowell had to drive all the way from the tail end of the field because he was a lap down and got the lucky dog or whatever.
He got the lucky dog, and then he went from last to top 15. Now, he didn't follow it up very well.
I think he made it to 8th or whatever, but he burned his stuff off enough to where he wasn't able to. He started falling back before he came back in for tires. But there's other guys I saw that put Cindric.
Brad did too, but you just didn't see Brad all race, unfortunately.
Yeah, Cindric and Josh Berry, they put the reds on after that next pit stop after Suarez took the reds off, and they didn't do anything. So, and I had heard just listening to Kyle's radio. Listening to Kyle's radio, I had heard that the car reacted completely different on the reds versus the prime tires. So.
Yeah, that was interesting because he didn't seem to like the red tires, and it looked like Chase Elliott did not like the red tires either. I don't even know if Chase ever ran the red tires.
Hendrick was ass this weekend. They did not show up in practice. Now, practice is one thing because they might have been trying other stuff. There was the whole track position stuff. They got on the track late, whatever. But okay, Chase qualified decent. I think he qualified top 5. I don't remember exactly where he started at. But Bowman was a no-show all race. I think he was a lap down most of the race. Larson ran 8th to 14th most of the race. Chase in that same position. Byron, like nobody talked about Byron at all. Like it was
Chase would make it up on pit cycles, but that was about it.
Yeah, but I think Chase was. I think Larson was still the highest finishing Hendrick car out of the Hendrick cars, and he finished 8th, I think, 9th. I don't remember, but anyways, like Hendrick, where were they this weekend?
Dude, I don't know. They were not racing the normal, which I think they're all kind of saving their stuff now, getting ready for the playoffs. They got all 4 cars in the playoffs, obviously, now, so they can start go ahead and planning for the future. So I think they're really getting the car set up. They're really starting to practice for playoff races, for some of those struggle ones, because Richmond, not really their track. They do decent normally, but not really their track.
And
Michigan,
I will say with the Richmond thing, like maybe they were trying something, experimenting. Like you said, all 4 cars in the playoffs. They know for a fact that 1, maybe 2 of their cars have a real legitimate shot of making it to the championship 4 race at Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So are they testing some stuff at Richmond as that short track, flatter track, banked?
Yeah.
You know, like it kind of lines up with Phoenix because Hendrick's never really been good at Richmond over the last couple of years, and they haven't really been good at Phoenix. So they're all right at both tracks, but they're not. They don't show up and like, oh my God, Hendrick's, they're going to win this race. So were they trying something?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're getting prepared. They're testing out some setups. They're trying to see what they can run on it because they got all 4 cars. The only thing they're looking for is basically stage points,
Regular
and
season
playoff points for winning the stage.
Chase and Kyle.
Yeah, and so I mean, right now Chase is one of the best when it comes to getting points. I mean, obviously, normally he's one of the best average point drivers year in, year out. So he's going to do well for that. But then you get into Bowman. The likelihood of Bowman winning another stage for the rest of this regular season, maybe Michigan, maybe, but I don't even see that because Michigan's also another track where I think Toyotas are going to dominate. We'll talk about this a little bit later.
I think the Fords are going to show up this weekend.
Fords also have a great one, but I think right now I have a pick for Toyota winning the race. We'll get there. But it's very interesting to see how this is developing. And I think that Hendrick was testing the waters, seeing what they can get out there. Now, the team that I'd be worried about, RFK. What's going on with old Bread and our boy Bouchard?
I don't know. I mean, they had let's see, Brad. I'm trying to think back to Indy. This seems like it was such a long time ago. Brad ran decent at Indy, did he not?
RJ, what's up, buddy? We'll get there. Yeah, Brad was non-existent, and Bouchard was.
But Brad ran decent at Indy, did he not?
Yes. No. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. He was leading on that. He had Pill off, so
he was up. Yeah, he was up there, and then he just didn't have enough speed.
Seemed like last year.
Bouchard though did not do good at Indy and did not do good here. He was doing all right. He practiced well. Yeah, he practiced well and he did good during qualifying, but unfortunately, when he got that penalty, he just never came back from it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It seems like RFK definitely was the best Ford team to start the season off, but I would venture to say that Penske has taken that spot back as far as number 1 Ford team.
Yeah,
they have clearly found something. Logano ran good all race. Blaney is pretty mid at Richmond, so didn't really have high expectations for him. But I think he finished pretty decent. Did he not? Like top 10, top 12, somewhere around there. So that being said, I think Penske, for sure, has become the number 1 Ford team. RFK, I don't know if they've taken a step back or maybe they've just fallen behind compared to Penske.
Something's going on this year for them. I mean, it's obviously it's good to see Brad get a win. He's in the playoffs right now, but now with Austin Dillon winning,
Buscher's out.
Buscher's out right now. He was really borderline. Yeah, there's some weird. Ty Gibbs is really close to being out as well.
Ty's had a pretty rough streak too going through this summer. So yeah, I don't. I'm checking the part.
What's up, RJ?
What's up, RJ? Are you okay with what Dylan did because Hamlin?
we gotta get there. We'll get there. We're almost finished talking about the tires. Then we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So last piece on the tire before we move over to the Dylan fiasco here at the end. When it comes to these option tires, is this a short track only thing, or is this a short track and super speedway test thing?
As far as option tires,
As far as getting option tires, now they would have to be made different, obviously, because of super speedway with the speeds and the everything that goes on there. But should we have option tires at more than just short tracks, basically?
No, I think the option tire deal should only be for short tracks and road courses. Super speedways. The way to fix super speedways, and next time we go to a super speedway race, which will be Atlanta, the only way you fix that is the fuel mileage situation with guys just sitting in the draft, 30% throttle.
What's up with low speed? Long time no talk.
So, yeah, I don't think we need to try tires or anything at super speedways or intermediates. I think we've got a good package going on there.
Yeah,
I think we just keep it at the short tracks and road courses. I definitely think road courses too.
I'm fine with both of those. Yeah, I'm 100% fine with those two. That's where we struggle the most right now. Let's fix those. Then we'll go further.
Yeah.
All right. So Dylan winning the race by any means necessary. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
2 thumbs up.
I think it is what it is. It's racing. It is a racing deal. I've watched it over and over again. I know I was trolling in our group chat a lot, but if you watch and you listen to the two that this happened to Joey Logano and Dennis Hamlin. Joey Logano is known as the bump and run king. Denny Hamlin has said multiple times that he'll make you make a decision by leaving you only one lane. I'll keep going while they bite someone. So Dennis is known for always saying he'll make you make a decision. You'll either wreck or you'll let off the gas. If you watch the video, Denny basically has one lane, the very low part of the very first lane that he was in, and he starts drifting up. Obviously, that's the normal exit, especially when you're trying to get the most speed going for the finish line. Austin Dillon is obviously after the Joey Logano punt, which that one 100% that's a punt. But he comes down and he's going to try to side draft. If you're trying to race for the win, you're going to try to pull him back and go for the win with a side draft. Now, whether he meant to keep going or not, the S&T data kind of does show that it's doing that. But Denny Hamlin is also seen moving up the track. Denny could have let out and been fine, but he didn't.
There's literally like 4 deer outside my window.
Shoot him a little bit.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'd love to. I have no idea.
I didn't have AD making the playoffs before the Braves, but here we are. That's pretty funny. While he's gone, let's continue. I'll go through the comments real quick. So let's see. Beef Boss. Yeah, so I understand. And I get it. It's not a fantastic way of winning the race. I understand that. That is not what I'm talking about here. In my opinion, the two that got wronged a lot of people. So I am not upset about it. Now, should Dylan have won it to begin with? That whole Ricky Spinhouse and Priest thing was just way too weird. Obviously, Dylan was the best car that night, and he deserved the win anyway. And when they wrecked, it was just kind of weird to me. I don't understand how that happened, and it just felt like it was almost staged. So I think Dylan was going to win regardless. And then that just happened to be what transpired there at the overtime finish.
Yeah, so I have no idea what happened. What were we talking about?
So all right, Deer Hunter. I was talking about how both basically what I talked about in the chat. Joey Logano is known as the Ship'em King. He's the bump and run master.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin has said multiple times he'll make you make a decision by leaving you only one lane.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin still had space at the bottom. He could have lifted and not got into Austin Dillon. But they're both racing for the win.
Correct.
After the AD hits Joe Logano. AD is picking the fastest line. He's also going to try to side draft because just like every race, side drafting right there before you get to start finish line, you're trying to bring that person back to get back in front of them. So he's going to move up close to him. Now, the whole wreck him over the spotter, don't do that. That's dumb. If anything, you're going to get fined just because of that.
Yeah.
But I don't have any problem with it.
So, all right, I will give my opinion on how I perceived it. Dylan definitely shifted into turn 3 and moved Logano.
100%.
Like, there's no questions asked. That's what his intentions were. And I give him a pat on the back for it. Like, that was what he needed to do. He knew in that moment that the season was over with. Like, can he fluke himself into a Daytona win? Nova, hey, stop. Can he fluke himself into a Daytona win? Sure. It's happened before, but you don't want to rely on those odds. Darlington, he's been hit or miss at Darlington. Like, there's an opportunity there. Michigan, there's anything can happen. Like, yeah, sure. But given that Austin, let's back up here. Austin, that last 100 laps, clearly the fastest car on the track.
Best car.
Best car on the track. Like, he did not fluke himself into this win at all. Like, if that caution had not come out, if that caution had not come out, then he would have 100% won that race. No questions asked. And this wouldn't even be a discussion. But season on the line, playoffs on the line, he had to do what he had to. He shifted into turn 3 and moved Logano. And you know what? Logano has done the same thing in the past. Maybe not as egregious, like 5 car lengths back. Like, I think back to Kansas when he took out Matt Kenseth. Like, that was really hard racing. He hit him. He moved him. Like, that's at Kansas, an intermediate track. I think back to Martinsville, moving Martin Truex out of the line. And Truex raced him clean. So, yes, it was a dirty move. 100% a dirty move. I am not discounting that at all.
But you're racing for the win.
I really don't have a problem with it. What I do have a problem with is the way the Hamlin situation went down. It's clear radio communication, wreck 'em. And SMT data came out and Dylan was turning. There's data there to prove that Dylan definitely turned. We right hooked him, sent him into the wall.
Yep.
Now, granted, it's a short track. It's not as big a deal as, maybe Daytona or Las Vegas with Bubba Wallace, the Carson Hosefart. I think Hosefart did that at a short track though, and he still got suspended a race. So I'd have to go back and check, what that incident happened. But Denny, I gotta commend Denny. I haven't listened to Actions Detrimental yet, but I gotta commend Denny because he definitely handled that interview as best as possible. I feel like he didn't get out of the car, just crying like, oh, boo-hoo, like that's fucked up, shouldn't have happened. Like, he definitely saw it from both ends. Like, he was going for the win. He needed it for his own season. He needed it for his team. The thing that I'm okay with through all of this is that, he got out of the car. Austin got out of the car at the start finish line. He owned it. He didn't say, oh, that's just short track racing or whatever. He owned it. He's like, I had to do what I had to do. That was the situation he was presented with, and he had to do it. On top of that, the emotion he showed, like, he didn't get out of the car and it's just like, oh yeah, boo, we won the race. We had to do what we had to do. Like, he was tearing up. Like, he was straight up emotional in that. So yeah, you could tell how much it meant to him. And that all being said, like, I really can't fault him for doing what he had to do.
I am really trying to remember how to get photos to pull up so I can add this video, because my whole thing when I watched the SMT data, where the contact is made, Austin Dillon seems to be letting back too straight.
Yeah.
Because it's right at, if you look at the actual line point, it looks like it's right there at the edge where it could be I mean, obviously these are milliseconds differences, but you watched Hamlin come up. So only thing I could think of, if it's not him trying to intentionally right rear Denny, is that he was trying to side draft Denny, but Denny came up.
Yeah, I mean,
Denny did come up. That part you cannot.
oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, that literally is there, and you can watch it and see it. It's on our TikTok as well. So that's where I'm like, I'm not a big proponent of what he did, but at the same time, I can't 100% say that he was intentionally. Bubba Wallace was intentionally trying to right rear because he was still turned all the way through the hit. Chase Elliott was still turned all the way through the hit. It seemed like in this case that Dillon had stopped just at the last second coming down as Hamlin was coming up. And maybe it's just my eyes. I don't know. But I've watched it over and over again, and it does not look exactly the same, in my opinion, to the Bubba Wallace incident and the Chase Elliott incident.
Yeah, I mean, I there's some differences there in it. Again, had this had been at 1.5 miles or super speedway, like we're not even talking about like attaboy Austin, like that's fucked up what you did. Like we can't.
You could kill someone.
Right.
Those speeds.
The fact it was coming literally to the checkered flag,
Mm-hmm.
I let it slide to a degree because of what he had to do to win the race. It's just it is a bad look to an extent because you cleaned a guy out going into 3, and then you right hook somebody coming out 4. So it's just, I don't know. I'm okay with it just because of how Austin handled it. He owned it from the very beginning. He showed the emotion. I watched a couple little clips this afternoon of like on Happy Hour with Kevin. I mean, he straight up owned it in that interview too. Like it's not like he made any defenses about it. Like, yeah, I fucking wrecked him. Had to. Got to do it.
He said that was his.
You're not out there racing for other people. You're out there racing for your team and your sponsors. And
100%.
It would be different. You know, it would have been different if it was like, okay, we had a green, white checkered, and then you had half the field pit. The other guys stayed out on older tires. So now you have guys that, you know, haven't been up front for the entire race or the last, you know, stint of the race or whatever it is that didn't have the fastest cars. And then this all went down because of that. No, Austin Dillon had the fastest car at the end of that race. So if that caution had not come out, like I said, Austin was winning that race. So
I mean, it's
a little bit better from that standpoint.
Yeah, 100%, and I agree. I agree with that 100% because it like I said there, Austin Dillon was going to win that race.
Yeah. Now the question I have is the post-race altercations. Like, I want to know what you're.
What's up, Sarah Gaten?
Yo, Matt, I know how you feeling, buddy. I know how you feeling.
He is still celebrating.
Yeah. Perfect guy to be in here right now. So, what is your take on how things transpired on pit road after the race?
I am not a fan. I am absolutely not a fan for children to be on pit road while it is live. And my consideration of live is race cars, still moving on pit road. Why on earth? And I get they want to go ahead and get the family out there of Austin Dillon who's celebrating, but wait until everyone has parked their cars. Obviously, Joey Logano is definitely in the wrong here. If you didn't see it, you can go watch it. Joey Logano comes and he was told to go in one lane. He goes the other way because he sees I think all he saw was Dylan's pit crew. I don't think he saw, obviously, what's her name and the kid and the other kids that were there. I think he just saw the pit crew and wanted to have a word. He pulls up, has some words, and then spins the tires, getting sideways as he exits and get up. Now, he gets in trouble with the NASCAR officials, but he needs to get in trouble with NASCAR because even though the kids shouldn't be on the pit road, period, they were being escorted by NASCAR officials. NASCAR, in my opinion, is in the wrong here, but Joey doing that with the kids right there needs to be fined. We cannot set a precedence that you can be dangerous on pit road with people, especially children. Doesn't make any sense to me.
So, I mean, I'm going to go a little bit on the other end of the spectrum here. I personally don't care about the children's situation in this because they were accompanied by a guardian, which would have been the mom, Whitney. So if you go back and look at the video that was shared in the group chat of the actual onboard with Joey, because there was like 2 videos floating around of like reporters that were standing on pit road, and you kind of saw like the very tail end of it where Joey comes in, spins the tires, and takes off. You didn't really see who was all out there and, you know, how close things were. Like, Joey was going down pit road, and there was 2 lanes closest to the outside pit road wall. There's 2 lanes of traffic, and pit road officials were out there directing traffic, and they were merging everybody into 1 lane at the very end. Mm-hmm. Joey is all the way against the pit boxes, like in the line to get into the pit boxes, essentially.
Yeah. The last lane before you're in the
third lane, furthest inside lane. Only car doing that. And you could tell there was some official was like, hey, move, get over. He's not paying any attention to him. He finally gets up to Austin's pit box or wherever he saw the crew members or whatever. And you could see Whitney with the baby in her arm, and Johnny Morris was there. You could see him as well. Somebody else was there.
There was 2 other families.
Yeah,
there's 2 other wives with children.
Right. And they literally had a NASCAR official with them, like standing right with them, getting ready to escort them out there. This is where I feel like the whole argument of kids being on pit road is mute, because you literally have an official of the sport trying to escort somebody out there, and you have some hot-headed driver like literally aiming towards them and spinning tires that's already been directed to get over, move over. So now I would equate it to like a police escort for somebody else. If you have a police escort for somebody else and you completely blow through an escort, you're going to feel the wrath of God. Like, Joey should have a penalty for what he did. And it's not just because of like pulling up and spinning the tires. Like, he blatantly was driving faster than anybody else on pit road.
Yeah, because he was angry.
I know pit road is hot. I know it's hot. You got traffic out there. You got cars on pit road. But NASCAR has been pretty clear about the fact, like, pit road is where you don't fuck around. It doesn't matter if pit road is live in the middle of a race or if it's after the race on the cool down lap. You don't fuck around on pit road. You have too many people out there.
Exactly. But NASCAR shouldn't have put the children out there. It doesn't matter what was going on, because children can't be on the pit road. No one should have, like, Joey should not have done what he did, no matter what's going on here. Joey, he messed up. He should not have done what he did, no matter what goes on here. However, it is a short track. How long does it take to get all the cars parked on pit road? Not long.
Yeah.
Not long at all. So you're telling me we can't hold the women and children because it's not about, they had earmuffs. They had earmuffs. But hold on, because they had earmuffs on, and so they're their hearing's protected. Those cars vibrate your body.
Did you hear the audio, like, from the reporter that was standing there, like the cell phone footage? You know when something is so loud that it actually like distorts the footage on. Like,
it overwhelms overloads the mic.
It, and like it basically mutes it out. Like, we know firsthand experience how loud the cars are, just being at the track and everything. Imagine being right next to it. Imagine being right next to it and banging it off the chip. Like, that's another thing. So
And that's why, like, the children shouldn't be there regardless, because that's dangerous for their bodies.
Correct.
Like,
and
that can hurt them, even though with ear protection,
But-
that can hurt them. So NASCAR needs to do no children on a live pit road.
But hold on, I know what you're saying with this. I am not disagreeing with the fact that like that shouldn't have happened. But no, it shouldn't have happened because there should be no circumstance that a driver is going down pit road after a race. After a race is over with, you're on the cool down lap after the race. Pit road is still hot, yes, because you have moving cars, but there's no reason whatsoever for a driver to literally bang it off the fucking chip from a dead stop next to somebody. That is the problem.
It's just like running into a car.
I understand you have children on pit road and like that. Yes, it's a bad look, but it shouldn't have happened. Like Joey should not have been as close as he was to begin with because he was being directed as far away as possible. And if you look at the video, the children, the family members, everybody, the officials were literally standing just outside of the pit road box where there shouldn't have been any cars.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, no matter what, Joey Logano's wrong here. Like, we both agree on that part.
And I'm not putting biasness on this because it's Joey Logano. Like, fuck Joey Logano. I don't like him. But I'm not. Yeah. I'm putting that aside, and I'm looking at.
I'm saying fuck Joey Logano.
Yeah,
I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like him either. But I'm putting it aside and looking at it from the bigger picture of pit road is hot, yes, but you're literally being directed in a certain direction, and you're ignoring that. You're ignoring official calling. You're ignoring that. And you're heading straight towards a family because you're pissed off, hot-headed.
Yep. In my opinion, it's the same. That part of it is the same as running into someone that's getting unbuckled in their car.
Yeah.
We've seen the precedents for that one.
Yeah. It's just, I don't, there was arguments in the group chat and everything about it. And it's like,
yeah, I don't know. There's this Matt guy in there. I just don't understand what he's thinking at any times.
I mean, the whole thing, like, oh, you shouldn't have kids on pit road. Like, what the fuck do you do with your kids when you're like at a traffic, like at a stoplight, at a crosswalk? Like, shit's gonna fucking happen, and you're not
that's different there. So let me ask you this: if you're at a crosswalk and it says "Do not cross," and you and your children run across, is that dangerous?
Yes, 100%.
That is the same as this.
But yes and no.
Live traffic is cutting across that crosswalk.
Yes and no. I'm not disagreeing with you. But if you look back at the picture and the video I sent, they were literally had with a official standing there, like holding them back, and they were getting ready. They were getting ready to walk. Like that was the official's fault.
Yes, I agree, and that's why I said it's not I don't blame Whitney here.
Yeah.
I blame NASCAR for letting the officials do that.
Yeah.
I don't think the NASCAR official should that NASCAR official gave them a walk signal when the traffic was still green.
Right. And I think it was like, so the officials, they all talk their own scanner communication and everything. Like we don't have audio. Were there, scanner where there talks over the scanner saying, hey, 22 is coming down pit road. He's ignoring everybody. Like, watch out for him. Like, was any of that being communicated? Don't know. I mean, it's possible. It's just, it's a shitty way things went. Like,
100%.
Should Joey be penalized or fined or whatever? Yes, 100%. Yes. Like that's the lack of
sportsmanship, professionalism, common courtesy, adulthood,
common sense, all of it. Like there's that was bad. Like that could have been bad.
Really bad.
I'm trying not to contradict myself because I understand the standpoint where you're coming from with not having kids on pit road, but at the same time, like
for NASCAR, I don't fault Whitney because they were literally being directed by someone, so I don't fault them.
Yeah, I don't want to see a rule be made up now to where like the families can't go out to the start finish line and celebrate with their dad after winning a race. Like the kids in the car riding around, like that's like how do they get over there? Well, they have to go across pit road. So there's
it only takes a couple seconds to get those cars parked. It's a short track. Now, super speedway, road course,
And the thing is, they were just about parked. Like the cars were only going like 3 mile an hour down pit road. It's just that you had one dipshit driver going across like that was being a hothead and completely ignored everybody else. Like that's where this all stems from. Like, had Joey had just been in the same line as everybody else and screamed at them across pit road, that's whatever.
Or got out of his car and walked over to him like every other driver that's upset with another driver does.
Yeah. I don't
know. So, I mean, there's definitely
Joey called it chicken shit. I call what he did chicken shit too.
What he did was chicken shit. Let's just be honest. He packs and ships a bunch of people. What he did was chicken shit on pit road.
He's mad. I understand. We've all been in a situation where we've just been so fucking mad. All we see is red. I've been there. Everybody's been there. Yeah, I understand it. But like NASCAR cannot let that slide. When you see the video of how I saw it with the onboard camera, like he's completely ignoring officials down pit road. Like that's just
blatant.
Or has to. And then that last official is like stopping him, pointing at him, screaming at him. Like that tells you right there. He got called to the hauler for a reason.
Instantly. He like before he got out of the car, he was already called to the hauler. They had made that announcement on at least over there on TV before he was out of the car.
Does he get penalized?
Yes, has to.
Mm-hmm. Now,
is it a points penalty?
I don't think so. I think it's a monetary.
That's the only way to make this hurt. Monetary for Logano does not matter. But if he makes a points penalty due to,
I don't think they do points.
But this is family safety and driver safety.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't think they do points.
We know
how inconsistent NASCAR is.
Yeah, but when Ty Gibbs ran into, oh God,
Eric Jones.
Who was it? Eric Jones on pit road. Obviously, at the time, Ty Gibbs was not a full-time driver, I don't believe. So he got a hefty monetary fine. So that's there. But I think this could qualify. I think it could get there. I don't know. I think it could get there. We will see.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side of that, the way the race finished.
I don't think you take away his playoff eligibility.
With the right hook and everything, does Austin Dillon get a penalty? Does he get suspended?
Also, yes. Suspended, no. But does he get a penalty? Yes. And the only reason, because like I said, I preached my case where I don't know if he was going to try to just side draft and not move any further down. And it did not look the same as the Bubba Wallace and the Chase Elliott when the steering wheel was still going hard left. But I think he will get a points penalty. It does not matter because he's going to have no playoff points anyway. So I don't think that part really matters to him, but I think it's going to be a hefty monetary fine. And I think it's going to be a points penalty. And the only reason I think that's going to happen is because the spotter could not keep his mouth shut.
Yeah. The whole thing with the spotter, the radio communication. So this is how I think it's going to play out. I think the spotter is going to get suspended.
100% for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it could be like as far as like the rest of the year, like an indefinite suspension, and they just lift the suspension after the year is over with. I definitely see that being a high probability. On top of that, I do see monetary fine because the SMT data doesn't lie, but I don't think they're going to take the win away. They could potentially suspend Dillon for a race, but if they do that, do they grant him a waiver because of the suspension? Like you're getting all back into this shit. So I don't.
But seem to be part. I want to hear your thoughts.
You should have jumped on about 30 minutes ago, sir.
You're late, but we'll recap a little bit. No, and this is where my problem with. So my problem with vacating wins, my problem with vacating the win itself, with the death penalty, we'll say, is the fact that when I look at that SMT data, the crown of the point is right there at the impact. On camera, slowed down, it looks like Austin Dillon is no longer as hard left as he was. When you look at SMT data, it's up to that point right there. Hamlin is moving up. So it's the perfect storm. Both of them are going for the win. Both of them are going for the perfect line. Hamlin has said multiple times he'll give you just enough for one lane. Austin Dillon technically at that point was not continuing to turn as hard past the dotted line to go into the bottom lane. So technically, he's doing the same. But the waiver part, he's going to get a waiver regardless because
I think
NASCAR's a joke.
Like I said, I think the way it's going to go is the spotter, whoever the crew member was that, what's up, Bill? Whoever the crew member was that said, wreck them, that's going to be a suspension for sure. I just don't think they're going to be able to let that slide.
No, they will take it. That was right. Yeah, like it or not, Joey Denny and many others have done the same in some form. Exactly. That is my point.
Yeah,
that is exact. Denny said it as well. That is my exact point. No matter what at the end, whether he hooked him or not, it doesn't look as egregious as the Bubba or the Chase one. If it did, I would be off with the head. But it doesn't look egregious as that, and they were both going for the win at that point.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think they take the win away. I'm not even sure if they suspend him.
They're not taking playoff eligibility away either.
The problem is though, like it was still a right hook. So NASCAR has set that precedent.
See, Whiskey watched my video.
Yeah, I know.
Good old John.
He's on your side. NASCAR has set that precedent though for you right hook a guy, you get suspended for a race. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing Austin has in his defense, there's two things Austin has in his defense right here. One, it was a short track, so the speeds weren't that high. And two, SMT data, yes, it's there, but there's a lot of gray area in there. You just don't know exactly how that went down. It wasn't like Austin went, bam, right.
Exactly. And timing, there could be a second, based off the video to where that millisecond where straw on the line is, it is literally like right as they begin to hit. So if it's off by a little bit either way, on camera, it looks like he's straightening back out.
Yeah.
On that data, he could be, if it's a second to the wrong, he could definitely be. It shows it going back. Yeah. So it shows more break. It shows all the different data showing that him. Now, my other thing is I haven't seen the SMT data for Hamlin, and I'm very interested to see if Hamlin's turning right.
Here's I'm gonna give you the cliff notes on how I think the
I'm sure get them loose like everyone does, bump and run like normal. Then you saw the opening and Austin shot the gap, and then he was right there. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with anything that John's saying
there. Yeah, 100%.
Here's my cliff notes on exactly how I feel like the penalties, whatever is going to happen, how it's going to get done. Joey's going to get a penalty for what happened on pit road.
Agree,
I think it's going to be a monetary penalty. I don't think it's going to be points. If it is points, it's going to maybe.
Does it matter? Does it matter if it's a points penalty?
Well, yeah, it matters if it's a points penalty because it affects where you sit, going into the playoffs.
Him and Austin Cindric are guaranteed to be the back of the playoff back.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. Now,
points matters.
Driver championship.
I'm sorry. Points matters. It doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter where you are in points. Points matter. So I would say that Joey's going to get a monetary fine. There may be a points penalty with it as well. Austin, I don't think Austin's going to get the win taken away. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they suspend him. I think they do give him a monetary penalty for the right hook. I think they possibly take the playoff points away going into the playoffs. Maybe a points penalty isn't going to do anything because he was 31st in points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like points penalty doesn't matter.
Well, it's not going to do anything to the extent where he was in points. Now, I guess it would because even owner points now he's up higher in owner points.
But he's still last. Actually, before I say that,
he's 13th. He's 13th.
Okay, I was going to say before I say that, I got to check again because I don't know where he is in owner points now.
So whether or not they do a points penalty, I don't know. I don't think they're going to take the win away. What they're going to do, monetary fine for sure. Monetary and the spotter will likely have an indefinite suspension.
Yeah, and Whiskey agrees with the whole what he did on what he ended up doing on pit road is not right. I do. Andy laughed at my jokes, dude. Pool left it up extra long. I know. I left it up. I tried to set it up for you, man.
I was in the moment. God damn it!
He didn't even look. Here, I'll put it back up. Maybe you'll see it this time. All right, there you go. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Matt, I'm wearing this Austin Dillon shirt just for you, buddy.
Oh God, please don't. I got Austin Dillon hanging up behind me just for you, man.
And the RCR hat.
What's up, Levi? Hey, I mean, I got Austin Dillon right here behind me for you, Matt.
Hey, I said in the group chat last night too, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if Austin Dillon wins this race and then Kyle Busch goes back to back and RCR goes back to back at Michigan?
I don't see KFB winning Michigan.
No,
I'm sorry.
Hang it up, Kyle. Hang it up,
I'm
Kyle.
sorry.
You're good with.
This is the year from hell for Kyle. I don't know what's going to happen from it. What's that? What? Sorry, we have a guest appearance.
I had a guest appearance too. Mason.
All right. You say hey to Uncle Andy?
Hey, Uncle Andy.
What up,
You
Mason?
say hey podcast. Hey
What
podcast.
up, podcast? What up, players in the podcast?
But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely I'm interested to see what happens. Tomorrow is normally the day that we get penalties. I think it's going to take till Wednesday because of everything that went on here. Yeah, I see it. I think it's going to take till Wednesday because everything that went on here.
No, that's
And-
more like a propane tank.
Yeah, it's the leveler, so you can put it on and tell what the level of your propane tank is. We got it off the grill outside.
Gets me the damnedest things.
Can you go back to mommy?
No.
Okay. He's here to stay. He said, "Nope, I'm staying." Who wins Michigan? All right, yeah. Let's move over to our picks. Yeah,
The moose broke.
I know we broke the moose.
I broke it too.
I know. I remember. I was there. So Michigan picks. Who you got, Andy?
Sorry, I was reading what John was saying there. Michigan picks. Well, I said a Ford at
What's up, Kelly?
the beginning of the show, so I'm going to stay with a Ford. Ryan Blaney.
You're going with Ryan Blaney? That's not a bad pick. Here you go.
Yeah,
Go find mommy.
Ryan
She's
Blaney.
outside waiting for you.
I don't want
I'm going to go, and this is going to be controversial because I know people are going to look at me and judge me here. I think the way this season's shaping up, I think Bubba Wallace gets the win here.
Ooh.
He's in here.
Ooh. That's a little bit of a spicy pick there. I kind of like that.
He's running really good right now. Obviously, he did good again.
Mason, when you open the door, shut it behind yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Mason's getting in
So,
trouble for not shutting the
I
doors.
think back to the Michigan race last year, and Tyler Reddick ran very well in the Michigan race. If it wasn't for a bad pit stop or 2 or 7 or 9, I think Bubba's a pretty solid choice. I like it.
Yeah, I can see. I feel like the way the season's been going and everything's happening, I just think it might happen. Matt Pierce with Suarez, Beef Boss, Bubba win would be dope. It could happen. It could happen. I'll be in Canada for Pinty Series, no Michigan for me. Hey, are you gonna? I can't remember. Did you say you're gonna be at Atlanta? Let's talk. My kids do it all the time on my podcast. Yeah, he's playing with the Lego set. But
Atlanta's coming up pretty quickly.
Atlanta's coming up pretty quick. Can't wait to get out there.
Dude,
Got a few
playoffs
weeks
are
away.
like right around
And-
the corner.
And then we have Atlanta, and then we have 1 to 2 weeks, and then we're at Bristol.
It's Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol.
So a week, and then we're going to Bristol. So I can't wait.
Bristol's gonna be fun. I hope Bristol ends up being like it was earlier this year with the tires.
Apparently they did a test, and 40 laps tires were out again. So I'm hoping.
Perfect.
Be careful.
Perfect. RJ says that Chase wins
We'll see you
Atlanta.
there. And Glenn. Gotcha. And Glenn. There you go. But all right. Well, that's all I got. Do y'all think Denny will ever win a championship? Yes, I do. What year? Don't know.
I think he can do it this year.
Very, very possible. Bro, what are you doing?
My mouse is dying.
All right. Well, that's all I got. I got Mason in here now, so I got to go entertain him a little bit. But it's gonna be interesting. we'll see what happens. We'll get back to you, I'm sure, once we get some news about the penalty or lack thereof. I'll make a news video, so make sure you go check out our TikTok as well. Thank you, everyone, for being over there. We're trying to get to, I think our next goal is 40,000 followers. We're at 36.7. So tell all your friends, go follow us on the TikToks. Night, fellas. See y'all at Bristol. Sounds good, Bill. And that's all I got.
Until
Until next time. See you.
Bye.